Today, I'm continuing with my Money Moves series and talking about money moves to make in your 40s. But before I get into the video, just a reminder to please hit that like button and please consider subscribing to my channel. It helps me out greatly. Without further ado, let's talk about money moves. And by money moves, what I mean are financial goals or milestones that you want to hit within a particular amount of time. And so for this video, I'm talking about the milestones you want to hit while you're in your 40s. Now, if you watch this video all the way through and maybe realize that this is maybe a little bit financially ahead of where you are right now, don't worry, I've already created 2 other videos which I will link in a playlist below, and you can check those out and see maybe if they're more on par with where you are right now. So the first thing I want to talk about is maxing out your retirement contributions. Now the great thing about your 40s is a lot of times you have kids out of full-time daycare, which is unbelievably expensive, and also a lot of times you become debt-free before you hit your 40s, and also many people will actually hit their peak earning potential in their 40s, which means this is an ideal time where you'll have more money than ever to throw at your retirement accounts. So go ahead and max those out. Now in 2020, the max annual contribution you can put towards an employee-sponsored 401k is $19,500, and the max you can contribute to a Roth IRA is currently $6,000. So again, think about maxing those out in your 40s. Next up is saving for your children's college fund. Now your 40s, again, is a great time to do this while you're at potentially max earning potential and have less financial responsibilities. But if you have to choose between saving for a retirement or saving for your children's college fund, you have to prioritize your retirement. There are such things as student loans, but there's no such thing as a retirement loan. So you have to contribute to your retirement first. I know this might be really hard for some people, but you are not a bad parent if you don't have a children's college fund. It is not your responsibility to pay for your children's college fund. If you can, that is a huge, huge blessing, and that's wonderful, but it is not a requirement of being a parent. But if you can, your 40s is the time to do it, but please just make sure you're prioritizing your retirement first. So the next thing on the list is going to be the hardest on the list, so I do just want to get it over with basically, and that's to talk about money with your aging parents. Now, I know this is not an easy topic, and this is going to be very, very difficult, probably for the majority of people. I know many parents don't believe in talking about money, or they don't want to face that point of their life, or they believe that they're the parent and they don't need to talk about it with their children, but you need to be on the same page. You, as the child, needs to know if your parents have any expectations of you, and the parent needs to relay to their children if they have any expectations, and you just need to get on the same page. So in your 40s, make it a goal to have these conversations with your parents. Next on the list is to get disability insurance. Now, disability insurance is something most people don't think about, but according to the Social Security Administration, 25% of people will become disabled at some point in their life. And in that event, you want to make sure you and your family are financially taken care of. So if you can get it through your employee, that's great, but I would also recommend getting a supplemental disability insurance. Next up is you want to make sure to have life insurance in place. And this is especially important if you have a spouse or children that rely on your income. And you also want to keep in mind that in the event of your death, not all debts are forgiven. So something like a mortgage or even private student loans, which is exactly what I had, are not forgiven in your death, and you want to make sure that the people who are left behind are not left with that bill. So you want to make sure that your life insurance covers those costs, and you also want to make sure that it covers the cost of a funeral as well. The next thing I want to talk about is making sure you have a will in place and making sure it gets updated. This is one of those things that I will say the earlier you do it, the better, because in theory, the farther away you are from that point in your life, so it just seems a little bit easier. So you want to make sure you do it, and you also want to make sure you're updating it as needed, whether it be if there is a marriage or a child born, any additional children, any major financial changes, or if you move out of state, because wills are on a state-by-state basis. So if you do move out of state, just make sure you're updating your will. This is one of those things that can be super heartbreaking and just tear families apart if there is not a will in place. The last thing you want to do is not only leave your loved ones with the turmoil of your death, but also leave them trying to figure out what your final wishes are and leaving it amongst themselves to figure and often fight it out. Having a will in place and updated is truly an act of love, and it is kind of the final act of love you can do for your family or your friends, whoever will be included in your will, by letting them know what your final wishes are and making sure that they don't have to figure it out themselves. Last on the list is I recommend having a house repair fund set up in your 40s. And the reason why I say to have this in your 40s is there's a good chance you're going to be in your house for a while at that point, and at some point things are going to need to be repaired or replaced. Let's face it, appliances don't last forever, ACs don't last forever, water tanks don't last forever, and at some point things are going to need to be either repaired or replaced, and you just want to make sure you have money put aside for that. And also, don't forget, in your 40s, you most likely have the most disposable income at this point in your life, so maybe you even want to think about renovations for your house. So now is a great time to have that separate little repair or renovation fund for the unexpected emergencies or for the planned upgrades. All right, that is it for my list today. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you put these into action if you are in your 40s. Again, if you feel like maybe you're not at this point, go ahead and check out the additional videos below. And also, don't forget to please hit that like button and please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.